In this video, we are going to look at an article from Diane Urban that talks about how 43 words should be cut from your writing immediately. These are wonderful recommendations and suggestions to help clean up your writing and make it more interesting. She gives some excellent examples of some specific words to use and words not to use, and the reason why. One that I want to really focus on are dialogue tags. Dialogue tags are important because we need to know who is speaking. However, there are more than one way to do that. There is one more than way to do that. For example, you will see here, this is an example of a conversation. And for each line, there is a dialogue tag. Said Eric, said Ramona, asked Eric, said Ramona. She gives you a recommendation of how you could actually do it differently, where you are using prose to help indicate who is speaking, while at the same time adding more interesting information. And for the last two lines, there aren't even any dialogue tags, simply because it is clear who is speaking. Now, as we go through and try to find these different words, she gives a couple of recommendations on how to find and replace these words in your writing. I should warn you, you need to be very careful in doing this, and I'll give you an example why. So let's say I'm writing this book right here, and I've got a few different things going on in here. Let's say I have the character of Anne. I decide at some point in time I want to change her name to Diane. Well, if I've written 75,000 words and I want to go through and try to find every single time I have the word Anne, that can take some time, but there is this replace feature. However, this can go wrong. So if I say find Anne, and I want to replace it with Diane, let's go Diane, I think, wow, that'll take care of it. Replace all. And it says, we made two replacements. Okay. But you will notice that this second line down here, we actually have the word scanned. And now when we change Diane, because A-N-N-E, and is actually part of that word. That is problematic. One way to get around that, if we kind of undo our mistakes here, is what happens if we were to go to replace and have Anne followed by, put a space before it and a space after it, and then replace with a space before Diane and a space after Anne, and then hit replace all. In this case, it only changed that one part without having to change it inside the actual text. So that is a trick to use. Again, unfortunately, what's going to happen is what happens if you have, in somewhere in your sentences, you have ands. You've used the possessive version of this. That trick won't necessarily work. But just be aware that you can make unintended consequential changes to your document if you use the replace feature without being careful. And there you go.